Have you ever felt that someone is slowly awakening to the truth about you, as if heaven itself is revealing your connections step by step? As if invisible hands are guiding to hearts toward a divine realization? Because today's message carries a powerful confirmation meant specifically for you. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Anointed Encouragement, and comment "I receive this message" below. Because every interaction strengthens this growing faith community and allows daily angel messages to reach more souls who need hope, encouragement, and divine reassurance right now. If you believe God speaks through signs, timing, and spiritual alignment, stay with this message until the end. Because angels are revealing that someone connected to your destiny has just discovered a truth that changed everything inside their heart, and heaven wants you prepared for what comes next. This is not coincidence. This is not imagination. This is divine orchestration guided by God, confirmed through spiritual awakening, and protected by angelic presence surrounding your journey even when you cannot see it clearly. Right now, somewhere, someone is rethinking every moment they shared with you. Every conversation, every memory, every unexplained feeling they once ignored. Because truth has finally reached their spirit, and realization has begun transforming their heart. Angels are saying that clarity often arrives suddenly, like light breaking through darkness, and when God reveals destiny, confusion disappears and purpose becomes undeniable. Many people walk away from divine connections because fear clouds understanding. But when heaven decides the time has come, truth rises stronger than doubt, and the soul recognizes what the mind once resisted. You may have felt distance, silence, or emotional uncertainty recently, yet spiritually something powerful has been shifting behind the scenes. Because God prepares both hearts separately before bringing them together in unity. The angels want you to understand that destiny is not forced. Destiny is revealed. And revelation is happening right now within the person connected to your future. They are beginning to understand why they never forgot you. Why your presence stayed in their thoughts. Why peace followed your conversations. And why separation never truly broke the connection between you. God often allows time apart so truth can grow without distraction, so hearts mature, so intentions become pure, and so love becomes aligned with divine purpose rather than temporary emotion. The Bible reminds us clearly, Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This means your story has never been random, your encounters were never accidental, and the emotions you felt were not meaningless moments, but divine signals guiding to souls toward understanding. Right now, angels are whispering that realization has begun within them, and they are seeing you differently than before. Not through fear, not through confusion, but through spiritual clarity placed in their heart by God Himself. They are recognizing qualities they once overlooked, kindness they once underestimated, and spiritual strength they once misunderstood. Because divine truth removes illusion and reveals value clearly. You may wonder why this awakening is happening now. And the answer is simple yet powerful: timing. Because heaven moves according to preparation, not impatience. God waits until both individuals are emotionally ready, spiritually stronger, and internally healed enough to recognize destiny without running away from it. Angels say this person has recently experienced moments of reflection, unexpected memories, dreams, or emotional realizations that felt impossible to ignore. And through those moments, God has been speaking silently to their heart. Sometimes realization comes through loss, sometimes through loneliness, sometimes through growth, but always through divine guidance shaping the soul toward truth. They are beginning to understand that what they felt for you was never ordinary attraction, but spiritual recognition, something deeper than logic, something peaceful yet powerful, something heaven designed intentionally. The Bible reminds us again, Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. This season is the season of revelation, where hidden emotions become visible, where confusion transforms into certainty, and where destiny becomes undeniable. Angels are encouraging you not to chase, not to force outcomes, and not to fear delays, because God is completing work inside both hearts simultaneously, preparing alignment rather than temporary connection. While you focused on healing, growth, and faith, heaven was guiding their awakening quietly, allowing realization to grow naturally instead of through pressure. You may notice subtle signs soon, unexpected communication, renewed attention, emotional openness, or sincere honesty that feels different from before. Because truth changes how people speak, act, and connect. When destiny becomes clear, hesitation fades, and courage replaces fear. This person is beginning to feel drawn toward you again, not by impulse, but by understanding, not by loneliness, but by spiritual certainty placed within their heart by God's guidance. Angels say the realization they received shocked them emotionally, because they finally understood that you were never just a chapter in their life. You were part of their divine path, and as this truth settles deeper within them, their actions will begin aligning with what their heart now understands. You are being asked to remain calm, faithful, and spiritually grounded, because divine timing requires patience, and patience protects blessings from arriving too early. God is not only preparing reunion, He is preparing transformation, so that when connection returns, it carries maturity, clarity, and lasting peace. Remember this powerful promise. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Even when you cannot see progress, heaven is working. Even when silence feels confusing, angels are guiding outcomes. And even when timing feels slow, destiny is moving forward exactly as planned. Right now, your role is faith, trust, and emotional readiness, because the truth revealed to them is only the beginning of what God is about to unfold. In your shared journey, something sacred has started, something irreversible, something written long before either of you understood its meaning. And angels are saying clearly today, they have just discovered the truth. You are their destiny. There are moments in life when heaven begins moving quietly, when events align in ways that seem ordinary on the surface, yet carry extraordinary spiritual meaning underneath. And this is exactly the season you are entering now. The angels are revealing that the realization awakening inside this person did not happen suddenly, without preparation, but rather through a series of divine encounters, reflections, and emotional awakenings designed by God to open their spiritual eyes. They began noticing patterns they once ignored, memories returning at unexpected times, feelings resurfacing without explanation, and a deep inner awareness telling them that their connection with you was never finished. God often speaks through remembrance, because what is truly destined cannot be erased by distance, time, or misunderstanding. While they tried to move forward logically, their spirit continued pulling them back toward thoughts of you, reminding them of peace they felt in your presence and authenticity they rarely experienced elsewhere. Angels say this internal struggle became the turning point, because resisting divine truth creates restlessness within the soul, and only acceptance brings peace again. You must understand something important. Heaven does not force love. Heaven reveals truth until hearts willingly choose alignment. This person has reached a stage where denial feels heavier than honesty, and silence feels louder than confession. They may not yet fully understand every spiritual detail, but they know something inside them has changed permanently. The Bible teaches us clearly, Psalm 37:4, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He shall give you the desires of your heart." This scripture does not speak only about wishes. It speaks about alignment, because when hearts align with God's will, desires become purified and guided toward divine purpose. Their heart is being reshaped right now. Fears are being replaced with courage. Confusion is turning into clarity. And emotional walls built from past experiences are slowly falling away. You may have sensed this shift energetically, perhaps feeling unexpected calm, renewed hope, or inner reassurance without knowing why. Because spiritual connections communicate beyond physical interaction, angels are reminding you that distance never limits divine communication. God connects souls through spirit long before circumstances allow physical reunion. This person has started questioning past decisions, wondering why they walked away emotionally, why they hesitated, and why they misunderstood the depth of what existed between you. And in those moments of reflection, truth became undeniable. They realized that your connection carried growth, healing, and spiritual peace rather than chaos. And that realization alone has begun transforming how they see the future. Sometimes God allows separation so individuals can recognize value independently, because appreciation discovered alone becomes stronger than appreciation explained by others. Angels say they are now seeing your importance clearly, understanding that your presence challenged them to grow, encouraged them to become better, and reflected qualities they secretly admired. This awakening has not been easy for them, because accepting destiny requires humility, and humility often begins with admitting past mistakes. The Bible reminds us, Isaiah 43:19, "See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." God is creating something new between you, something renewed rather than repeated, something healed rather than broken. Old misunderstandings are losing power, emotional confusion is fading, and spiritual understanding is replacing uncertainty. Angels reveal that they have begun praying differently, thinking differently, and even viewing relationships differently, because divine realization reshapes priorities from within. They are no longer searching for temporary excitement. They are searching for peace, stability, and spiritual partnership, and your presence represents those qualities strongly in their heart. You may soon notice subtle changes, increased sincerity, vulnerability in communication, or emotional honesty that was previously missing. Because awakening removes emotional masks, God prepares confession through conviction, meaning the heart must first accept truth privately before expressing it openly. Angels are encouraging patience during this phase, because transformation must complete internally before external actions fully appear. Just as seeds grow beneath the soil before becoming visible, divine relationships develop spiritually before manifesting physically. You are not being asked to pursue or pressure outcomes. You are being asked to trust God's process, remain emotionally balanced, and allow heaven to guide the next steps naturally. The person connected to your destiny is learning lessons about commitment, emotional responsibility, and spiritual alignment. Lessons necessary to sustain lasting love rather than temporary connection. This preparation ensures that when they come forward, their intentions will be genuine, stable, and guided by clarity rather than impulse. Angels say heaven is removing fear from their heart gradually, because fear once convinced them they were not ready, not worthy, or not capable of sustaining such a deep connection. But God replaces fear with understanding, and understanding leads to courage. You must also recognize that this process transforms you as well, strengthening your faith, deepening your patience, and preparing your heart to receive love without insecurity or doubt. Divine unions are never about completing broken individuals. They are about uniting to heal souls walking in alignment with God's purpose. The Bible teaches, Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good, to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. Even past confusion served a purpose, even delays protected growth, and even silence prepared revelation. Angels are saying clearly that this phase marks the transition from spiritual awakening into emotional action. Their heart now understands what their mind once questioned, and soon their actions will begin reflecting this new awareness. You may feel anticipation rising within your spirit, not anxiety, but peaceful expectation, because your soul recognizes movement happening beyond visible circumstances. Trust that God is aligning conversations, timing, and opportunities perfectly, ensuring that when connection resumes, it carries clarity instead of uncertainty. This realization they received is not temporary emotion. It is a spiritual awakening planted by heaven itself. And once destiny becomes visible to the soul, it cannot be forgotten again. The angels want you to remain grounded, hopeful, and spiritually attentive, because the next phase will bring signs confirming that divine truth has fully taken root within their heart. Everything is moving toward alignment, slowly yet powerfully, gently yet undeniably, guided by God's wisdom rather than human urgency. The truth they discovered continues growing stronger each day, and heaven is preparing the moment when understanding transforms into action. There comes a sacred moment when realization turns into movement, when understanding transforms into courage, and when heaven gently pushes hearts toward the destiny they were always meant to embrace. Angels say this is the phase you are entering now, the moment when spiritual truth begins stepping into physical reality. And what was once hidden inside thoughts and emotions starts revealing itself through actions and decisions. The person connected to your destiny has reached a point where silence no longer brings peace. Because once God reveals truth to the heart, avoidance becomes impossible. They have reflected deeply, prayed quietly, and wrestled internally with emotions they could no longer ignore. And through this process, heaven has softened their fears while strengthening their faith. You must understand that divine timing does not rush, yet it never delays without purpose. Because God prepares both hearts simultaneously so that reunion happens in maturity, rather than confusion. Angels reveal that this person now sees you differently, not just as someone meaningful from the past, but as someone connected to their future purpose. Someone whose presence feels guided rather than accidental. Memories that once felt distant now feel alive again. Conversations replay in their mind with new understanding, and moments shared with you now carry deeper meaning than before. This awakening has created emotional clarity, and clarity naturally leads to action. The Bible reminds us, Ecclesiastes 3:11, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, He has set eternity in the human heart. God places eternal recognition within souls destined to meet. And when the appointed time arrives, hearts recognize each other beyond logic or explanation. Angels say this recognition is guiding them toward honesty, toward communication, and toward expressing feelings they once feared revealing. You may soon notice unexpected contact, sincere words, or emotional openness that feels different from anything before. Because this time their actions will come from spiritual certainty rather than emotional impulse. Heaven is encouraging you to receive this moment with calm faith rather than anxiety. Because divine connections flourish in peace, not pressure. Your role is not to control outcomes, but to remain spiritually aligned, emotionally balanced, and open to God's guidance. The transformation happening now is mutual, as God prepares both of you to build something stable, respectful, and spiritually grounded. Angels emphasize that true divine love carries responsibility, patience, forgiveness, and shared faith. And these qualities are now developing within both hearts. The Bible teaches, 1 Corinthians 13:7, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. This scripture reflects the foundation heaven is establishing between you. A love strengthened by growth rather than fantasy, sustained by faith rather than emotion alone. There may still be moments of uncertainty, because human hearts adjust gradually to spiritual change. But angels ask you not to interpret temporary hesitation as rejection, because transformation unfolds step by step. God is aligning circumstances behind the scenes, arranging conversations, healing misunderstandings, and removing obstacles that once stood between you. Even delays you experienced were acts of protection, ensuring that reunion would occur when both souls were prepared to value what God intended to give. Angels say your patience has not been unnoticed in heaven, your prayers have not been ignored, and your faith has created spiritual pathways now opening before you. This person feels a growing desire to make things right, to speak truthfully, and to move forward with sincerity. Because divine realization awakens responsibility alongside love. You may sense increased emotional sensitivity within yourself as well. Moments of reflection, dreams, or sudden peace appearing without explanation. These are confirmations that spiritual alignment is taking place. The Bible declares, Proverbs 3:5-6, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." God is directing both paths toward convergence, guiding steps carefully so that what begins next will be rooted in wisdom rather than confusion. Angels want you to release fear about the future, because fear belongs to uncertainty while faith belongs to divine promise. What is forming now is not coincidence. It is orchestration, not chance but calling. Not temporary emotion, but purposeful connection. Heaven is revealing that this union carries lessons, growth, and shared spiritual mission, encouraging both of you to walk closer with God together rather than separately. As this connection unfolds, communication will become clearer, intentions stronger, and emotional security deeper. Because divine relationships mature through honesty and faith. Remember that love guided by God does not rush to impress, it grows steadily to endure. Angels say the truth they discovered about you being their destiny has changed. How they view commitment, replacing hesitation with readiness and uncertainty with hope. The season ahead brings conversations that heal, understanding that restores trust, and decisions that move both of you toward alignment with God's plan. Remain patient with the process, grateful for growth, and open to miracles unfolding quietly around you. Because when heaven confirms destiny, nothing meant for you can pass you by. And now, before we close this message, take a moment to reflect on what you felt while listening, because your feelings may be confirmation that this message was meant specifically for you. If this message touched your heart, take a second right now to like this video, because your support helps spread encouragement to those who need divine reassurance today. Share your thoughts in the comments and write "I trust divine timing" as a declaration of faith, because speaking faith strengthens spiritual alignment. Subscribe to Anointed Encouragement and turn on notifications so you never miss daily angel messages, uplifting guidance, and faith-filled encouragement designed to strengthen your walk with God. Share this message with someone who may need hope today, because sometimes God uses you as the messenger of encouragement for another soul. May peace fill your heart, may clarity guide your steps, and may God's divine plan unfold beautifully in your life. Until the next message, remain faithful, remain hopeful, and remember that heaven is always working for your good, always guiding, always preparing blessings beyond what you can see. Amen.